Hello, my friends. My name is Professor Singer. I'm a retired engineering professor, a world traveler, and now I live here in Marimanti, East Africa. You may hear the roosters in the background as I sit under the tree outside my house. I'd like to bring you these updates from here because the story of innovation isn't just about Silicon Valley or billion-dollar startups. It's about the ideas and solutions that emerge every single week in villages and cities across Africa and all around the world. Each week I share with you the most important innovations changing our future. Solutions that often don't make the headlines, but which are changing lives in very powerful ways. I know a few things about a few things, not everything for sure, but I'll share with you what I know. I have a whole lifetime of experience to bring to bear on this. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
When you think of the word innovation, what's the first thing that pops into your head? A shiny new smartphone? Some billion-dollar AI startup? Well, what if I told you that some of the most important innovation happening right now looks absolutely nothing like that? In fact, our whole idea of what innovation even is, well, it might be changing. Okay, so to get into this, let's start with a little riddle. What on earth could connect deadly scorpion venom, a pile of agricultural waste in Wikipedia? I know it sounds completely random, right? But the answer you'll see points to this really powerful and fascinating shift in how we solve problems all over the world. So, let's start putting these puzzle pieces together. We're going to see how the very definition of innovation is evolving, just by looking at a few stories that on the surface seem to have nothing to do with each other. We're going to kick things off with something that probably doesn't make the tech headlines, but for millions of people, it is a terrifying life or death reality. Yeah, we're talking about scorpion stings. This isn't about making life more convenient. This is about pure survival. Get this, 1.2 million. That is how many people are stung by scorpions every single year, and that leads to thousands of deaths. It's a massive, massive public health crisis, especially for rural communities that are so often overlooked. But what's really amazing is how this problem is being solved. Scientists in India, they're not waiting around for some big pharma company to swoop in. They are tackling this themselves. Using some pretty advanced biotech, they've completely decoded the venom of the deadly Indian black scorpion, and they found 25 different toxins in there. But here's the kicker. They made this incredible discovery. There's a peptide inside the venom itself that actually blocks its own toxic effects. I mean, how cool is that? This is a total game changer. And it's letting them develop the first ever targeted, super effective antivenom for this very specific, very local threat. So that's our first clue, a local solution for a local problem. I was once walking around barefoot. My friends told me that's not a good idea, but since I was on a paved walkway, I had forgotten their wise advice. As I stepped toward the sink, bam, it was as if I was stabbed in the foot with a hot nail. Now let's see how this idea fits into a much bigger picture. This powerful global shift towards self-reliance. And you know this isn't some isolated thing. We are seeing an almost identical story playing out over in Nigeria. But this time it's all about medical manufacturing and diagnostics. 147 million. That's how many rapid diagnostic test kits a brand new factory in Nigeria has started making for diseases like HIV, malaria, and TB. This is huge. For the first time, a facility in Africa is producing these life-saving kits at scale. And that breaks a decade-long dependency on foreign imports, which often left health systems really vulnerable to supply chain shocks or sudden cuts in foreign aid. Now, this drive for self-reliance, it goes way beyond healthcare. This quote from Zimbabwe's environment minister just nails the mindset shift perfectly. Refuse should be treated as an economic resource. So instead of seeing agricultural waste as, a problem you have to get rid of, they're flipping the script and seeing it as a business opportunity, a source for compost, for biogas, and for green jobs. And that same kind of thinking, turning a local problem into a local resource, is also completely revolutionizing agriculture, especially as we're all facing a changing climate. This number is just wow, 167%. New research, and this is wild, it combines satellite data with machine learning. It shows that a pretty simple tradition farming technique in West Africa could have a massive impact. Just by increasing the number of shade trees on cocoa farms, farmers could offset more than the entire sector's greenhouse gas emissions. It's a frugal, low-tech solution that doesn't need expensive new gadgets, just ecological wisdom and people working together. Okay, let's just step back for a second. We've got a targeted antivenom in India, locally made test kits in Nigeria, waste to wealth in Zimbabwe, climate-friendly farming in West Africa. Are you starting to see the pattern here? A huge number of these really high-impact grassroots innovations are bubbling up from the African continent. So is that just a coincidence? Well, as you've probably guessed by now, no, it is absolutely not a coincidence. And in this next part, we're going to dig into the real forces that are driving this incredible wave of innovation. So, what's the secret sauce? It's really a combination of a few powerful things coming together. First, there's a very deliberate pivot to self-reliance, a strategic choice to build local solutions instead of waiting on foreign aid or imports that can be unpredictable. Then there's this intense focus on what's called frugal innovation, solving urgent, real-world problems for your community, not just chasing the next billion-dollar startup. These stories are also finally getting the spotlight they deserve thanks to news outlets that focus on these solutions. But maybe the biggest driver of all is just demographic urgency. Africa has the world's youngest population, and they're facing some of the most immediate climate and health challenges. It's the perfect example of that old saying, right? Necessity is the mother of invention. So, what does this all add up to? It's not just a handful of interesting stories. No, it's something much, much bigger. It's a whole new playbook for how innovation actually works in the real world. Let's give it a name. Necessity-driven innovation. And this right here is the key takeaway. We're talking about solutions that are frugal, so they do more with less. They're social, meaning they focus on community impact over just profit. And they are super context-specific, designed for the exact problem at hand. It's often this amazing blend of old and new, mixing traditional wisdom with modern tech. And it's all led by local people solving their own problems. And this new playbook, it's not just for physical things like medical kits or farming. It's also changing something as fundamental as our shared knowledge. And that brings us right back to the last piece of our puzzle from the beginning, Wikipedia. I mean, just look at this data. It tells such a powerful story. While people all across Africa are viewing 178 million Wikipedia pages a month. Look at who's actually writing the articles. Less than 1% of the science content is even about Africa, and only about 2% of the editors are from the continent. That creates a huge knowledge gap. So the innovation here is this amazing grassroots movement to fix it, training local experts to add their own stories, their own breakthroughs, and making sure their history is written by them. So this really brings us to two competing ideas of what innovation is. There's the old view we're all used to the one that's all about billion-dollar startups, big corporate launches, and fancy gadgets from Silicon Valley. But this new wave we've been exploring, it's about something totally different. It's about frugal solutions, community-driven projects, and inventions born from pure necessity. And that leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. Maybe, just maybe, the future of real, meaningful innovation isn't about chasing the next flashy big thing after all. Maybe it's about getting a whole lot better at fixing the most basic things for the people who need those solutions the most. This is Professor Singer. Stay inspired, stay inventive, and above all, keep pushing Africa forward. Thanks again for being part of Tharaka Invention Academy. I'm Professor Singer, and this is your portal into the most recent and sharpest innovations and problem solving on the planet. While headlines chase noise, we chase breakthroughs from Nairobi to New Delhi, from street-level hacks to quantum leaps. This is where invention meets necessity and creativity meets constraint. Let's get to it.